Today we're here at Griggs Reservoir, and I'm driving instead of outside because there's a really long road you can take here along the reservoir to just wildlife watch, pick a spot you might want to park and walk for a little while, and it's a great place to start. So we're here at the reservoir to do a little bird watching and whatever else we can find, and actually right up here is our first stop to check out some really cool nesting birds under this bridge. These strange mud structures that sort of resemble an overgrown wasp nest actually belong to cliff swallows. It's not uncommon to see large colonies of cliff swallows nesting under bridges like this. But these well-built homes are in high demand, and invasive species like the European house sparrow sometimes move in and take over. Place is pretty crowded today. It's pretty crowded a lot of days, so right now it's a bit of a challenge to keep 6 feet away from people, but I want to emphasize I'm trying my best to do it, and everybody else should be too. Out here it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of wild stuff to see, a lot of cool birds, a lot of cool wildlife, but you'd be surprised. Some birds really actually prefer this kind of open, almost savanna-like thing where you've got big trees spread out and, you know, low to no understory lawn in this case. Actually, right up ahead, just a few days ago, I had a really cool encounter with some really pretty birds right about there. So as I was walking along, I got a bit of a surprise because behind me, a little whirlwind of orange, black, and whistles and tweets came falling out of the maple tree, and they were young Baltimore orioles. And these little orioles were in some kind of scuffle, but the parents were in there with them, and I just got to watch for a while as the fledgling or recently fledged young flew very awkwardly from branch to branch alongside the adults. The little ones were even trying out their songs. So it was really cool to watch this family of orioles move through and forage. But you never know what you're going to see. Always a surprise. Large water bodies like lakes and rivers and reservoirs are great waterfowl viewing spots. And right now, during late spring and early summer, these birds are out with their families. Mallards are the most common duck around here, and despite the strikingly beautiful coloration you can see on a mallard drake, we often take this species for granted because they're so prolific and abundant, even in urban spaces. And this is a testament to how adaptable this species is and how much they've benefited from human alteration to the landscape. Mallards may be native here in North America, but they have become invasive in other parts of the world. Families of mallards like this are a great opportunity to study wildlife behavior and communication. You can hear the peeping of the chicks as they communicate to the parents and the soft clucking of the parents back to the chicks so that the group can stay together. Canada geese are also out with their families and are another common and well-adapted species that you can see at almost any pond, lake, or reservoir in this part of the country. Seeing them now, it's hard to believe that there was a time when even common species like this nearly disappeared from North America. The story of how our native North American waterfowl were brought back from the brink of extinction is a really incredible conservation success that involves duck hunters, duck stamps, and wildlife refuges. I can get into that more in a future video, but for now, I'll leave a link for more information in the description below. At any given urban or suburban park, reservoir, pond, you may run into some very strange looking ducks, very robust ducks with fleshy red skin around their face. And these are muscovies. And though muscovies are native to the Americas, they're native to places much further south, stretching from South Texas into South America. These are escaped domestic muscovies, and they've become very common at many parks like this. So I've now come over here to the other side of the lake, a little place called Duranso Park, probably pronouncing it wrong, but this has proven to be a really nice area to get warblers moving through during migration. Just this kind of little shrub line along the lake seems to just be constantly full of warblers, mostly yellow-rumped warblers, which is the most common species you'll probably see at this time moving through. But I've also seen palm warblers, and just a few days ago I got some looks at a May Warbler, which is actually a pretty uncommon species. So you never know what you'll see if you just spend a little time out here and watch. But it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much wild space to get wild critters. So right over my head is a European starling nest right up in that black cherry tree. So that's a native tree with an invasive bird nesting in it. And I think it's worth touching on this sort of juxtaposition of natural and human-altered landscapes, because this is mostly what we're left with in many parts of the world, is natural space that has been heavily altered by humans. But that doesn't mean that it's lost. That doesn't mean that it's devoid of wildlife. There's a lot of wildlife here to see, so I encourage you, get out to whatever green space you have locally and see whatever wildlife there is to see there and appreciate it for what it is, because there's still a lot of really cool critters living in spaces like this. Well, thanks for joining me again today on another birding hike. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can get out and experience this ongoing bird migration for yourself. It's not going to last forever, but it does come right back around in the fall and again next spring. So get out, enjoy it while it's here, and I'll catch you next time.